All right, everyone, here we go. Matchday -1, live from St. David's Performance Centre, presented by PointsBet, founding partner of Austin FC, Adrian Healy and Michael Lahoud, with a rare, very rare Wednesday appearance for Matchday -1. That's because, Michael, we got a rare Thursday game coming up against Charlotte. How are you feeling, my friend?
Are you ready for some Thursday night football?
I'm ready for Thursday night football, indeed. Actually, trivia question right off the bat for you as part of the intro. Name Austin FC's only other Thursday night game in its brief history, because we're about to play for the second time on a Thursday night.
Was it home or away?
It was home.
Home.
Yeah.
Is it not? It wasn't LA.
Think firsts. Think first ever. Think goal.
Oh my days!
The Portland Timbers on a Thursday night last week. So maybe it's a good omen playing on a Thursday night.
Yeah,
4-1 win. We'll take that again.
Well, it takes me back to that because seeing a stadium so packed in Major League Soccer on a Thursday night felt like a Saturday to me.
Yeah.
All our games feel like a Saturday.
Yeah. Actually, I think, remember, that game was shifted. It was supposed to be a July 4th game. It was. Anyway, we won't get into that. We're playing Thursday night. Before we get into that, brief thoughts on what is still fairly fresh in the mind.
Yeah.
Just a few nights ago, the 2-2 draw against Dallas. Glass half full or glass half empty, or some mixture of both?
I think glass half full.
Yeah.
That was and could be looked at as the turning of the tide in that rivalry matchup. FC Dallas had the Verde and Blacks number leading into it. And you had interviewed some of the players, Brad Stuver in particular, talking about how much they wanted this game so badly, especially after the 5-3 defeat from last year. And I think the fact that they went down 2-0, the first half of that match was really a chess match. Austin FC having two golden opportunities, Sebastian Driussi getting that pass from Diego Fagundes, and that was really a pass that we've seen Driussi hit first time. Yeah. And he took a little bit, one too many touches. Second half, though, the game really came to life with the introduction of a one Moussa Djitté.
Yeah, Moussa turned it around, didn't he?
Yeah.
His introduction. But for the second home game in a row, the team have managed to climb out of a hole that they dug for themselves and coming back to get a 2-2 draw as they did against Orlando. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we were talking about this with head coach Josh Wolf just an hour or two ago in the building. That kind of the home versus away dynamic has flipped, and now we're having teams come in to Q2 Stadium and really kind of. I thought I'd give Dallas some credit. Their game plan, I think, defensively and in midfield, they made life very tough for us. For 70 minutes, we figured it out in the final 20 minutes, didn't we? But only after going 2 down.
Well, you know that FC Dallas, their DNA is to high press. Right. They did that against us in all 3 matches and had success. What wrinkle that they put in was they dropped to a mid-block because we started relatively playing through some of that high press in the first half. And then when they shifted to a mid-block, they cut out all the passing lanes, and that back line was playing very high, which you don't typically see in a mid-block. Enter Moussa Djitté, and credit to Josh Wolf, his staff, and obviously the players for figuring it out. Because coaches can put you in situations, but you have to execute as players. Moussa gives them verticality, he gives them unpredictability, and the fact that they could bypass that press of FC Dallas and now just go route one, that led to the goal that happened. Sebastian Driussi changed how he played, could stay higher up, connected to Moussa, and they kept putting pressure on that Dallas back line, and FC Dallas didn't have an answer for him.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? And a sentence I never thought I'd be saying. We've now won 3 times on the road since we last won at home. We haven't won at home since end of April.
Wow.
We've gone to Houston, we've gone to LA, and we've gone to Montreal and won since that. So maybe it suits us just fine to have the majority of the games on the road coming up, starting in the Queen City tomorrow. Before we get to preview Charlotte, Michael, we should, talking about being on the road, talk a little bit about what the Academy have been doing, the Frisco connection. They've been up there. The Academy U15s and U17s both made great runs to the quarterfinal, didn't they? The U15s beating Wake FC and LAFC before going out into Miami in the quarterfinals. The U17s beating Portland, beating New York City FC, and then a narrow defeat in the quarterfinal for them to Orlando by a 1-0. So big shout out the academy and the work being done by Tyson Wall and all the coaches there.
Yeah, and mind you, for the U15s, that LAFC team they beat in the GA Cup, that was a team that made the semifinals against some of the best academy teams around the world. So that is a big feather in their cap. Second year, Austin FC's academy up and running, playing competitive matches, and the sky is the limit for these young, talented players.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. We should highlight the fact that it is just the second year for them, and already massive progress being made against some much more established programs, the likes of New York City and LAFC have been doing it a lot longer, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, in knockout competitions, there's just something about those pesky Floridian teams when it comes to the academy system. I got to cover them at the GA Cup, and they've had kind of the established kind of getting in the routine of playing a knockout competition. Austin FC will get better and better, and I can't wait to see them mature and see these young, talented players mature into the first team.
Yeah. All right. Onwards and upwards. The Queen. Let's pay homage to the Queen City, shall we? Because that's where Austin are on their way to at the moment. They've just left St. David's in buses heading for the airport. First ever trip, of course, to Charlotte. Of course, it would be because it's Charlotte's first year in the league. Of course, they were supposed to come in with us last year. Remember, originally the plan was for the two expansion teams to debut, but the pandemic put paid to those plans, so they came in a year later. And it's been an interesting first year for them, hasn't it? All sorts of drama off the field. On the field, I think they perhaps have surpassed some people's expectations up to this point. Would you agree?
It just goes to show you there's no place like home.
Yeah.
And this team lives up to the billing when they play at home. On the road, not so much. And that's part of the expansion woes. And it makes you wonder, Austin FC, the only team in Major League Soccer to have had to go through that expansion journey the way they did, playing all those games on the road, waiting for the stadium to be built, doing it during a pandemic, it makes you wonder how many more points could have been gotten for the Verde and Black had they had a more balanced schedule. Just saying, nothing is given, but just makes you wonder a little bit.
Yeah. So another Eastern Conference opponent for Austin. It will be on turf at big Bank of America Stadium. Of course, they play in an NFL stadium. They only open the lower bowl for soccer games. Don't know what the attendance is going to be like tomorrow night for the Thursday night game. They're averaging over 30,000, but a lot of that was because of the full bowl for the home opener where they had over 70. What do Austin need to do to take care of a team? As you mentioned, they have 6 wins so far, 9 defeats, 2 draws. All of their 6 wins have come at home. They have a 6-2-0 record at home. So only a couple of teams have been able to go in there and get points. LAFC, and interestingly, Montreal went there and won as well. So what do Austin have to do to join that pretty select band of successful teams there?
I think first and foremost, they have to manage the game. When you're playing on the road, what Austin FC, I think, have done really well on the road is you take the crowd out of it, you manage the game, and you don't let this game become a track meet. Charlotte, they want this game to become a track meet, almost half-court soccer, if you will. One group attacking, one group defending. For Austin FC, you have to stay compact and stay connected as a unified unit.
Yeah. A lot of mystery around Charlotte, given what they went through last week. Of course, they had the COVID protocols interrupt their last away game in Montreal, so it's unclear at this stage how many of those players will be back in the fray. But I think one name Austin fans will be very keeping a very sharp eye on and key eye on is one Mackenzie Gaines from just up the road here in Round Rock. Of course, he was snapped up in the expansion draft, wasn't he, by Charlotte?
Yeah, and who can forget Mackenzie Gaines' big moment for the Verde and Black right here at Q2 Stadium on the national stage, that volley. And also one Moussa Gite getting on the scoreboard as well. So hopefully,
Galaxy.
So hopefully he can continue that fine form for Austin. But Mackenzie Gaines, when I think of him, I think of speed. And in soccer, speed kills. This young man has a ton of speed, and in the last couple of weeks, he's really started to get a good run of games for Charlotte FC, and especially at home. I remember watching them play against the New York Red Bull, and he was dangerous, lively from start to finish, and his ability to just be direct, it's going to make for a very good matchup with Austin FC's outside backs.
Yes. Andrei Shinyashiki, another name that Austin fans might remember. He scored a couple of times against us last year for the Rapids. He's now part of Charlotte. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do up front. Of course, they have Karol Swiderski, the Polish international, who got off to a rip-roaring start with Charlotte, but has been very quiet of late. In fact, has not even been playing up front of late. It's been Daniel Rios, the former Nashville man.
Yeah, I find that very strange because Daniel Rios, he's not a prolific goal scorer. And when you have a guy like Swiderski who has a cultured left foot, he can hit it from set pieces, he can create his own shots, and he's doing it on the big stage. Scoring for Poland in the Nations League, and a match winner it was. I find that some of those decisions very peculiar, but we don't get to see training day to day. And when one guy leaves, another guy takes his place. That's what competition's for. And it's going to make for an interesting matchup with him and some of their sharpshooters from distance. Ben Bender's another player, a young player, #1 draft pick.
You covered him in the draft.
In the super draft, and he's really come to life. Surprised a lot of people. Attacking midfielder, played at the University of Maryland, and his ability to figure out the game, doing what the game needs, running forward out of midfield. Good technical player, and he can finish. He's a goal-scoring midfielder. Very dangerous for them.
One thing I've noticed with them, Michael, is they like to do, as we did last year in expansion, they're very high on playing the ball out of the back through goalkeeper Christian Kalina, the Croatian. So I'm sure it's something that Josh Wolf and the team are keying in on. How can they exploit that with some high pressing?
Well, you talk about highs. When we see that, there's high risk when you play out of the back, high reward, and also high drama.
Yes.
And Austin FC will be hoping that the third will be the case because Kalina has also given up a couple of surprise blunders playing out of the back. And that's what comes with it. You're gambling. You're playing on a knife's edge every time you play out of the back.
Yeah. Turf a factor, Michael, or not? It's funny, I talked to Ruben Gabrielson about this yesterday, and he's like, no problem. I played most of my career on turf, which is true. In the Norwegian league, they all do. But do we have to alter our game at all on that sort of surface, or not really?
I would say not particularly. The one thing that I've seen from teams that play on turf, look, the Seattle Sounders play on turf, and they keep the ball on the ground. They have one of the shortest strikers when healthy in Rui Diaz, and they still find a way to keep the ball on the ground. With this Charlotte team, though, when they play at home, they're very direct. Yeah. They like to pump balls in behind. And for Austin FC, a lot of teams that have gotten success have kind of adapted a bit and been more direct in terms of getting runners off the ball and trying to run in behind this back line. Their back line for Charlotte, they're very stagnant. They don't shift as well, and there will be running lanes to go through. And not as many passing lanes to the middle of the park, but Austin FC will have their chances this game.
I'll just finish this little segment by saying this. The Beasts of the East, we like playing the Eastern Conference this season. 4 wins and a draw in our 5 games against the East. We've still got 3 to go, starting with Charlotte on Thursday night. So that leads us to what might be the temperature at the Lahoud Mood. We don't normally get to take a temperature this early in the week.
Let me just loosen up the tie a little bit.
Your body is adjusted to it. So give us your Lahoud Mood for the Queen City trip.
Well, as always, it's not match day itself.
Not the full
So we'll be getting the pre-mood. Always the pre-mood on Matchday Minus 1. And so the Lahoud mood, the pre-mood, heading into this match is a unique one. It's a celebratory mood.
Yep.
I'm in a very celebratory mood. We're almost at the halfway point of the season, Mr. Healy.
Indeed.
And halfway points deserve big results.
Yeah.
And for Austin FC, if they want to celebrate this occasion in the Queen City, they'll have to do these 2 things. 1, early goal. This Charlotte FC team do not respond well going down to an early goal. They typically have not gone down to an early goal at their home stadium. When they've been on the road, they've succumbed to results not going their way. I think they're a team that depend a lot on this fan base to be the 12th man. If you score early, it takes the fans out of it. So look for Austin FC to be very aggressive early on. Yeah. Second, manage the game. I said before, you don't want this game on that hot turf to become a track meet. That favors Charlotte with some of their speedsters, Mackenzie Gaines. So for Austin FC, let the ball do the work. Yeah. Charlotte will throw a lot of numbers forward, 5 players at a time. Let the ball do the work in transition and make them chase till you wear them down.
Yeah, good point. Halfway point of the season reached. 17th game. You know, if we can come out with it with 3 points, we climb over the 30-point mark, and that is a great place to be at the halfway stage of a marathon regular season campaign.
Oh my gosh, that sets you up for something you can start thinking about called the P word, playoffs. You can start thinking about that, and there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
But you're in that conversation, and it becomes a little bit more of a reality once you start hitting those milestones.
Yeah. Very intrigued to see what Josh Wolf and the coaching staff do personnel-wise. Some decisions for them to make in midfield. Danny Pereira is available for this game, despite his red card and missing out last week. So it'll be a lot to look forward to tomorrow. I think it's going to be an entertaining, wide-open game because Charlotte are coming to attack. We know how to get the job done on the road. As you say, first goal, I think.
Yeah.
Really important. I think they are Charlotte are 1-8-1 when they've conceded the first goal. So, which is often the case with expansion teams.
No, it forces you to do something different than what you're planning on doing, especially when you're at home. We saw that with Austin FC conceding the first goal against FC Dallas and conceding the second, and it forced them to have a plan B. I haven't quite seen plan B from Charlotte yet.
Yeah.
Plan A is very much dependent on wing play, being very vertical, and kind of creating a bit of chaos. They have technical players, but they want to overwhelm you in your own half and get that first goal, and it's just a confidence boost for them. When they go down a goal, they start second-guessing themselves a bit.
Coming back from adversity, something you have to learn how to do as a group. And we've clearly made huge strides in that department in year two. Last year, I think a lot of players said we would have lost that game against Dallas.
I think so. I think so. And that's just the unity of this group. We saw that from day one, from preseason. A unified group on a unified front breeds good results.
Let's switch the focus briefly to the All-Star. We mentioned this in the last Matchday Minus one. More of a sense of urgency about this now. I know you've seen all the social media posts pleading with you to get your vote in, and we just repeat that message. Let's turn the All-Star game verde and black because the deadline is fast approaching. This Friday, in fact, July the 1st. The shutters come down for voting for the MLS All-Star game, even though the game is not until August the 10th in Minneapolis. Remember, MLS All-Stars playing the Liga MX All-Stars. How fantastic would it be to have some serious Austin representation? There's the obvious candidate, but there are others too that you can vote for by going to MLSsoccer.com/vote.
Well, it takes a whole village to get the team to where it is, and there's a lot of players on this team that have stepped up in year two. And just you as fans, you have the power to make it happen. The players are doing their part in the field, and now as fans, all of the fans have stepped up in so many ways. We saw that Q2 Stadium, another sellout.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn to do it once more for these guys so they can be there at the All-Star game.
Yeah. Voting, by the way, is open until 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on Friday. So if you're one of those procrastinators like me, you leave things to the last minute.
Oh, yeah, me too.
It would be a Friday night job. But even if you're out on Friday night and you're just coming back in, you still got time. 11:59 Pacific time is what? 1 a.m. here? You got time to actually until Saturday morning to get that vote in. But do vote. Obviously, we want to see Sebastian Drusi. Obviously, there's going to be a huge inquest if he's not there. I mean, he has to be there. But I think there are 2 or 3 other players who've legitimately got a shot. We don't even need to name them. You can figure them out for yourselves, and they're all available on the voting ballot. So MLSsoccer.com/vote to get us that all-star representation. All right, moment of gratitude, Michael. Big news this week. Our fine guardian of the goal, our fine, upstanding citizen, Mr. Brad Stuver, is been recognized by ESPN, no less. He's a finalist in ESPN's Muhammad Ali Humanitarian of the Year award, which means he gets to go out and appear at a big night at the ESPYs.
It's a big deal.
In late July, the red carpet will be rolled out for the ESPYs, and he will be there. Just talk about him and what he has done, and I know you have experience being on a panel at a big event with him as well as part of South by Southwest, Michael.
Brad Stuver, there's not enough superlatives to describe him as a human being. There's a ton to describe him as a goalkeeper, what he's meant to Austin FC since this team has come to life.
Yeah.
What he does in his spare time is amazing. Just very good goalkeeper, even better human being. And those type of people are very hard to come by. And those are the type of people you build organizations around. And Brad, I think of what he did with that op-ed that he wrote here in Austin. To do that in an expansion year is a big deal. To put yourself out there as an athlete during a time where we're seeing more and more athletes use their voice for good. Brad is a champion for so many different types of people, trans youth and LGBTQ community, just the list goes on. The Laundry Project, just him and his wife, Ashley, doing good. They stand for good, and Brad stands for good on and off the field. Rightfully so, rightfully nominated. And I told him, and we got to talk with him before they took off, and I looked him in the eye and said, hey, you go through so much in the midst of a season. And whatever you do on the field is amazing, but this is your greatest achievement yet. I just have the most respect, the utmost respect for athletes who stand for good and are recognized in this way.
Yeah, the big award show, Wednesday, July the 20th. It's going to be live on ABC. The ESPYs. Brad was talking about getting out there and back in short order because it's actually a little bit fortuitous. It falls for him in a week where we have a game either weekend, but we don't have a game that midweek. So it's great that he's in great company as well. Anthony Barr of the Vikings, Albert Pujols of the Cardinals, and Karl Anthony Towns of the Timberwolves, the other the other three athletes that he's going to be up there with.
Yeah. Oh, well, all those guys are great.
Yeah. There's only one Stuver.
They're no Brad Stuver.
No.
And I say that respectfully. Brad Stuver is the real deal. He is a genuine person, and he is definitely worthy of being a humanitarian of the year.
Yeah.
And so congratulations to you, Brad and Ashley. You guys are amazing, and we've both got to witness it firsthand.
Yes, indeed. So a lot to look forward to on that front with him. And just in closing, lots to look forward to tomorrow. Michael, for the first time, there's another first. For the first time, our broadcast will actually be happening from here tomorrow. Q2 Stadium is going to be starting its preparation for the big Willie Nelson show. So actually the next two road games, we do not have Q2 Stadium available to broadcast from, which we normally do for road games. So the solution is to be right here at St. David's, and looking forward to being able to show off some of the fine facility here over the course of the next two games.
Yeah, I think there's a hot tub or recovery room or something with my name in it or something like that.
A cryogenic chamber.
Yeah, something.
Little freezing, perhaps.
Maybe future broadcasts can be done from the chef's table.
Yeah.
So
I'll be in the weight room. So I hope you can join us. We'll do the full half-hour pregame show. The game tomorrow, Thursday, it's on KBVO. So remember that. It's not on the CW. It's on KBVO. Channel 14.1, I think, for those of you in digital antenna land. 5:30 p.m. as well, local time. Early start. They've got an early 7 o'clock Eastern time zone kickoff, 6 p.m. here. So we'll get going at 5:30. In fact, we may just stay here tonight and just be all ready to go in the morning.
Just put me in the gravity room. I'm ready. Get ready for Colorado after that.
Yes, indeed. And then Colorado, same deal on July 4th. But Austin against Charlotte, the two newest teams in the league, meeting for the very first time. Full coverage tomorrow. Hope you can join us from right here at St. David's for that. Thanks for being with us for another edition of Matchday Minus One.